Nicola, welcome to the stage.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. So my name is Nicola Elgie. I'm a Senior Account Director at Drummond Central, which is a creative agency based in Newcastle, if you hadn't guessed by the accent. I'm here today to talk to you about our partnership with Greggs. And as it says on the screen, lessons from that partnership and how a brand with northern roots is taken on the world. When I first started my career in advertising, I did work at a really small agency on a local caravan company and a brand that sold reclining and rising chairs to care homes. So, as a marketer born and bred in the Northeast, you must think, wow, it's a dream client. It actually bloody is. But I'm not going to stand here and talk all about myself or about our agency. I'm going to get into it and talk to you about Greggs. So we've worked with Greggs, and I myself have worked with Greggs for the last 6 years. And in that time, we've built a really strong partnership and an even stronger brand. So let me share what those key learnings have been. What I'm going to do on the next slide is just introduce those. There's 5 of them. And then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on each. So, at the beginning of everything, you need to really start with knowing what your challenge is and diagnosing the real source of that. The second, which is massively important, is getting to know your brand inside and out, getting to bed with your brand, learn and develop all of those brilliant things that makes your brand distinct and memorable. After all, if you don't know those things, how is any of your customers going to know them either? And once you've done those, then learn and figure out all of the different tactics and all of the different channels and things at play at your disposal to really get your brand out there, but do it in an authentic way for your brand and your business. This one is hugely important. All of that hard work in 1, 2, and 3 really falls down if you can't talk the same language as key stakeholders, so that they know that the work you're doing is really developing and building the business and delivering success for them. Finally, really importantly, and this is my favorite one, know how to and remind yourself how to have a little bit of fun along the way and be distinct. So the important lesson within all of this is not just knowing all of these things, which is pretty top level. It's then what you do with them that really matters and will really make a difference and build a brand for the long term. Okay, knowing your challenge. And this is where you can work with your internal stakeholders, like I mentioned before, your teams, everyone at your disposal, use them to your advantage, and also work with your agencies to really diagnose the issues and therefore the real challenge at play. Don't just stop at surface level, which might get a little bit uncomfortable at times, but actually that's where the juicy stuff starts. Greggs was known as a traditional baker, born and bred in the Northeast, no pun intended, but has evolved a lot over those years to become a really modern food-on-the-go brand that sells so much more than sausage rolls and bread. And when Greggs first came to us, the focus was very much on how the brand becomes more meaningful and mean more to more people. But of course, we couldn't forget those core audiences, the sausage roll fanatics, the after-work snackers, and of course our weekend warriors. The problem wasn't awareness. I'm sure we've all heard of Greggs, which is brilliant, but it was perceived relevance. And our job was to prove to this really broad audience that Greggs absolutely had a role to play in their lives. And within that audience, there was a huge focus on this younger audience, 18 to 34-year-olds, which I'm just out of, gutted. But they were particularly important, because this audience are more likely to buy food on the go than any other age group. But that then gave us a bigger challenge, because that then means that these people, these youngsters, have a huge repertoire of brands in their minds when they're thinking about food on the go the next time. So our challenge just got a little bit harder. But it wasn't a brand challenge alone. It was also a business challenge around how Greggs could stay relevant and stay meaningful to the changing tastes and demands of this growing audience, and how they could stay culturally relevant as well. So let me ask the audience, who here has had a Greggs sausage roll? Pretty much everyone. Oh, lights went on, that was cool. Who here has had a vegan sausage roll? Okay, pretty much everyone as well. So some of it was around product visibility, but some of it is around new product innovation, which led Greggs to developing the iconic vegan sausage roll that it is today, taking the world by absolute storm in 2019, placing the Greggs brand front and center of this huge vegan movement that was happening and taking the UK by storm. And then a year later, the vegan steak bake was born. And this followed with a different challenge. All eyes were well and truly on Greggs. What were they going to launch in Veganuary? What was the next iconic product they were going to turn vegan and still make incredible? There was no surprise around the product. There was no surprise and delight in that sense. Us in the agency called it the difficult second album. But was anyone expecting a launch for a £2 bake as if it was a high-end pair of trainers, complete with launch event and then queues going around the door? Absolutely not. Oh, I'm going to go back a slide. I can do that. Overall, what these two examples demonstrate is that the core challenge has remained the same. Appealing to that younger audience without alienating our core audience, making Greggs mean more to more people, but how we do that as a brand has to evolve, and that's something that we continue to do. On to lesson number 2, knowing your brand. And again, like I said before, it's not just at a surface level. Get much deeper than that. Really know your brand. You need to understand what your brand stands for in the minds of your audience. But then on the other hand, understand all those brand associations you want people to have when they see or hear your brand name. And the Greggs brand has always been full of personality and charm. So the hardest part was knowing how to bottle all of that up in a really brilliant and succinct way that meant that as the brand scaled and grew, the brand's essence remained unchanged. And this is how we did it with Greggs, and how we can make Greggs mean more to more people. It's not an overcomplicated model. It's on one page, it's succinct, it's to the point, and no matter the size of the client, at Drummond Central, we feel strongly that brand positioning should be to the point. It shouldn't be overcomplicated. We worked really hard as a team with Greggs to really distill what makes the Greggs brand so unique and so meaningful to their customers, and define how that is communicated so that we're all using the same language. We introduced Bagsome Joy a few years ago to really sum up in 3 beautiful words the role Greggs plays in people's lives. Whether it's an affordable coffee in the morning, a much-needed bacon roll with red sauce on a weekend, or an interaction with a friendly Greggs colleague, or a reward on your Greggs app. Greggs always brings a small piece of happiness to people's days. And Bagsome Joy captures all of that in a really down-to-earth and friendly and approachable way. It doesn't overstate the role Greggs plays. After all, it's Bagsome Joy, not bag all the joy. We weren't reinventing the Greggs personality or the brand, and it shouldn't be that, and it shouldn't feel that way. The brand statement really neatly summarizes the Greggs mission, vision, and values, and how it differentiates itself from competitors, supported by the 3 brand pillars shown on the screen. It's then how we use our unique personality to cut through the noise and compete against competitors. Being true to the Greggs brand matters. So we want our customers to feel like they know Greggs, like they know a really trusted friend. And for Greggs, this is delivered through 4 key traits. We're down to earth, for everyone, comfortable in our own skin, and being good fun. The brand is witty without ever being slapstick or silly or wacky. And we're cheeky at times, but we're never rude. We never downplay someone, and we never make fun or punch down of people in our humor. We know what the brand can get involved in and what we can't. We're really topical without being opinionated. And we communicate in a really confident tone with just a little touch of swagger. Never flashy, brash, or cocky, and we keep it authentic, succinct, and engaging. It's about joy, after all. The 3rd lesson. So once you've defined your challenge, and you know who you are as a brand, This next one is to know all of those different ways that you can reach your audience and get your brand out there and front of mind. And really importantly, you need to have the right team in place to do that. So Greggs has an exceptionally creative in-house team who we absolutely love working with. There's also a really brilliant mix of agency partners, and we all work together and collaborate to bring the brand to life in a variety of ways for our audience. It's a shared mission. And for Greggs, because the audience is so vast, like I said on the previous slide, for everyone, covering a wide range of demographics, food missions, need states, desires, locations, ways in which they want to interact with a brand and ways they don't. It has to show up in lots and lots of different places to be able to reach them. So, in no particular order. Consider how you're going to get your audience, consider how you're going to reach your audience and grow your reach through paid media at a brand level. So this campaign's going live in a couple of weeks, so teaser. But also on a product level, to make sure that we're really hitting those different proof points and continuing to give people more reasons to choose Greggs the next time they're in market for food on the go, and then choose Greggs over a competitor. Digital channels, such as your website, your app, through CRM, social media, this can play a huge role and a really significant role. And you all know yourself that you're inundated with messages and notifications through your laptop, your phone, your WhatsApp, your watch now, which I still don't know how to work. So your brand personality has to come through immediately to grab and capture that attention. And if you're lucky enough to have retail space, it's a huge opportunity. Physical locations can really stake your claim and say, this is where we are, but do so in a really exciting and interesting way. Like how we teased something big was coming for Greggs at Leicester Square, quite literally. Consider where else your brand can show up and how you can leverage partnerships, such as the PlayStation collab a few years ago. And this gave Greggs customers a really fun way to engage with one of the biggest launches in gaming history, but in a way that was accessible and affordable to them, something that felt right to the Greggs audience. And then the Primark collab. We were just talking backstage, and I said I did buy one of the full tracksuits, wore it for a couple of weeks and thought, I'm not that cool. But this turned into a cultural moment. Items of the clothing range sold out within days, and it led to 3 collections across the year. And then items were selling on eBay for 10 times, 20 times the price, and people were buying them. It was massive. And finally, which is an area the Greggs team do exceptionally well in, is the PR and earn space. Giving their customers real-life experiences that they can't get from any other brand in the food-on-the-go category. Like when Greggs launched their jewellery collection late last year. And when they turned one of their flagship Newcastle shops into Fender's Unplugged. On the weekend, Sam Fender was playing his massive gigs at St. James's Park. The important lesson here is to be in the places your customers are, but show up in a really authentic way. Don't let your brand become the person that didn't RSVP, but showed up anyway. On to the next lesson. Know all of your internal stakeholders, get to know them, really get to understand what success looks like to them, and what language they use, and the words they use to talk about the work you do. Spend time really getting to know them. And this is how agencies and brands can really work together in partnership to prove the effectiveness and the impact of the work we do together. The Greggs marketing team really know how to talk the language of their key stakeholders. They're all over the important brand metrics, and they report to their board and to the city about brand performance, showing how brand health correlates back to improvements to the business bottom line. The work of the Greggs marketing team gets regularly featured in CEO updates and city updates, which is massive testament to all of the hard work that goes into it. For Greggs, brand health plays a big part in these conversations and how we contribute to high-level business growth, demonstrating how we as a team, as a marketing team, and therefore as a business, are improving conversion through that really important funnel. I don't think I've seen a funnel today, so ta-da, you're welcome. But starting at the top, like I said at the beginning, it wasn't an awareness challenge. Pretty much everyone's heard of Greggs. But it was more around that perception and making sure people knew the role Greggs played in their lives. All the way through consideration, so giving people more reasons to shop with Greggs. Is that a different day part? Is that for a different food mission? Is that with a different group of friends? Or a different day of the week? And then all the way through into purchase intent, making sure that Greggs is their next purchase, the next time they have that craving. And this is the language and the understanding that's embedded within the Greggs business, not just within the marketing team, which I think is hugely important. So at a really high level, this does link back to the kind of that point I made at the beginning around really knowing your challenge and how you're going to act on that as a team and as partner agencies, and how you're going to convert awareness through the funnel and get that sought after purchase. So something we report on as a team, and the Greggs business does also, is that improvement through the conversion. And the good news is that when people know about Greggs in all of those different ways, and they know all of the different things we can offer and all the different ways we can deliver joy to their lives, conversion rates does improve. And this is a chart that we're really proud of as a team. And as well as brand funnel conversion, Greggs has claimed the #1 spot across some key brand health metrics on YouGov. #1 for brand index, which is massive. #1 for buzz, the top spot for value, top spot for satisfaction, and #1 for recommendation. And this is the result of all of the different messages, the different experiences, and the lasting memories Greggs delivers. Okay, on to the good one. Knowing how to have fun. And this is something I've personally learned from my relationship with the Greggs team, is absolutely have fun along the way, but be distinct. Never sit back and think, God, what if I'd done that? Or we were thinking that, but we just weren't fast enough. Never let someone else do before you. Be that brand that competitors look up to, like what Greggs has absolutely become. But your creativity has to be distinctive. Consider playful partnerships. Do the things that just feel right and that you know will help deliver your message in that unforgettable way. And do the things that titles write about, Reddit threads are created for, TikToks are made for, and that things that you want to talk to your friends about in the pub on a Saturday night. Creativity is not being risky or brave, but being distinctive creatively really matters, and it's a sensible thing to do. So on that note, I'm going to share something that embodies just that.
How I love Christmas. It's my favourite time of year. Family, friends, and of course, the food. A rapturous riot of flavour, succulent filling, creamy sauce. All wrapped up in the flakiest of flaky pastries in one or both hands. Say hello to the Greggs festive bakes. Sweet mince pies, aromatic gingerbread lattes, gorgeous Christmas lunch baguettes. The Greggs Christmas menu is back. Greggs, bag some joy.
Lovely, Nigella. So there we have it. My 5 key lessons from my partnership and our partnership with Greggs at Drummond Central. Let me leave you with this thought. What can a brand that started as a really humble bakery in the Northeast teach us all in this room today about taking on the world? It's not just about sausage rolls and steak bakes. It's about creating those moments of joy, connecting with people on a real personal level, and doing things in a way that is unforgettable. Thank you.
I surprised you. You're too
tried
popular.
to run.
No, you're too popular. You can't get away with
God.
that. Greggs, or at least someone talking about Greggs, cannot get here without getting away. You are a proper northern success story. So, what our audience would like to know, so how do you ensure product innovations and collabs avoid being seen as gimmicky?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go to the second part about collabs. And I think to make sure they avoid being gimmicky is making sure that your traits as a brand, so traits as Greggs, align with the traits of the business and the brand that you want to partner with. So for Primark, both brands were accessible. Both brands were for everyone. Both brands knew how to have fun. For PlayStation, that was about a shared audience. So that was about this shared audience of 18 to 34-year-olds knowing experiences that they want to have. But then PlayStation recognised, not everyone can afford a £500 PlayStation. And Greggs recognised that at the same time. But this was such a huge cultural moment in the UK that Greggs absolutely had to get involved in to make sure everyone could have a piece of that.
Yeah, and actually, what you're doing, and hats off to Greggs, is they're injecting fun and personality to everything we do. And a lot of the talk of the theme over the last 2 days is getting that right balance between doing things which is brand, whether it's purpose, whether it's fun, and then, of course, the hard measures of data and driving forward things like retail media. So the fact that you're doing fun is brilliant. And, certainly as a fellow marketeer, I'd encourage that. And I think that's just a great kind of brand personality to have. One more question.
I'm sure have no questions.
There is one more question. Have your efforts to be good fun ever backfired? And if so, what were the lessons?
Oh, there's definitely something I can't talk about. Has it ever backfired? No, because I think the Greggs team and we together and all of their partners know what they can and can't get involved in. There's probably been a few instances of things that, probably shouldn't have happened, but we know now how to be topical, but not be opinionated. Greggs would never have gotten involved with the Trump debate. Can't believe I've just said his name. But yeah, so it's more about that and knowing the right and the wrong and where you can and can't play.
Good answer. You see, you survived that. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nicola. You can go and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.